So if you're focused on a goal, then you don't have really time to be nervous. You have a strategy.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.
Welcome, Jen Gottlieb, to the show. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
So, okay, tell everyone what your official title is, and I'll know if I'm sort of right.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
My official title is co-founder and chief mindset officer of Superconnector Media.
Superconnector Media.
Oh, mm-hmm.
So I'm assuming you and your company are in the entrepreneurial aid.
Yes. No,
industry?
you're totally on the right path. Yes.
I don't even know what I'm saying.
Yes.
So what do you do?
Yeah. So we have a company that we have a PR agency. It's one side of our company. So we help entrepreneurs get featured in the media. So get on the radio, on TV, and publications.
Okay.
We also host events that actually connect entrepreneurs to the media and teach them how to be in the media. So if they can't afford to pay us to, do it for them, we teach them how to do it. And then we also have what's called a mastermind, which is a group of entrepreneurs and business owners that come together to learn how to create better businesses, connect with each other, network. And then also it really has like a visibility and media target. So we teach them how to be more seen.
Okay, this is very heady. This is a lot of like, well, wait, I'm not really an entrepreneurial kind of person, so why is this lady on my favorite show? I'll tell you why. Because Jen does much more than all of that. Jen really understands how people connect with people. You don't have to be in business. Well, you are in business. Just being a human being and maneuvering through life is in business.
Yes.
We negotiate with people every day. We have relationships with money and food and friends and bosses. These are the same principles that she teaches these entrepreneurs. She can teach us as just people walking through Earth.
1,000%.
Walking through life, rather. Anyway, let's get into it.
Yeah.
First of all, one of my favorite things I just read the other day, Jen's 4 tips to make powerful connections that upscale both your business and your life.
Ooh,
give us the tips, please.
I wonder what tips you have there. I've got lots of tips. So
I'll read the headline and you tell me what it's about.
Okay.
The first one I teach on our show all the time. Announce your vulnerability.
Yes.
Talk about it.
This is so good. Okay, so this is especially for anybody that's listening that feels more introverted and hates networking events, because I do networking events for a living and I hate networking events. Like they're awkward and they're uncomfortable, right? Okay, yeah. So,
absolutely.
But here's the thing. Don't ever underestimate anybody else's insecurity, because I guarantee you that if you're at a networking event and you feel awkward, the other person standing next to you might feel awkward too. And the best way to create a connection with that person and to immediately make everybody exhale and feel like, oh, I want to be your friend, is to say, hey, do you feel a little awkward right now? Does this feel a little uncomfortable? Like, announce the elephant in the room. Announce whatever's weird and uncomfortable and just get it out of the way, because authenticity and realness and vulnerability is what connects us as humans. Right. So if I could say like, oh, Elvis, like, dude, like, do you feel like maybe a little bit weird right now? You probably don't, because this is your...
No, I feel pretty weird.
Okay, great. So that just...
As a rule.
Okay, so we become like human to human friends instead of people that are trying to put on a mask and be fake, because that's you whenever you're putting on a mask and being fake and being something that you're not, it immediately puts up a wall between you and another human. You take that wall down by just being yourself.
So wait, could you do this at a party? Like, say you're at a party and you don't know anyone.
Yeah.
Say to the person next to you, hey, do you know anybody here?
Yes.
I don't know anybody here. Like,
exactly.
And just see like that type of thing?
That's the point, Danielle.
Okay.
These are, she's talking about, she as if she's not here. Jen's talking about these business person to business person connecting events.
Yeah.
You could apply this to any party, anywhere,
any party,
any day.
That's right. That's right. Your holiday party at at work, you guys, like, we're going to have holiday parties this year, probably in person. And you go, maybe you haven't seen that person that you worked with for the entire year because you've all been on Zoom and everybody's out of practice with networking. Everyone's probably like, oh my God, I got dressed for the first time ever.
Right.
I don't know if I like my outfit, right? You can say like to the person next to you, I have literally not put on an outfit in so long. Like, I feel like so uncomfortable in these heels or something. They'll be like, oh my gosh, me too. Thank God. Can we just stick together here with our heels and maybe take off our shoes together, like, at the end of the day? And then you immediately create a connection that's a little bit more fun and more deep.
I already feel better at this point.
I know.
I'm already thinking about all of the horrible things that I would say to break the ice that do not go along with this. Like, you can't sit there and be like, oh, my tummy, it's a little bit off. Got the bubble guts. That's not going to go over well.
I don't know.
Hi, nice to see you. Oh, my underarm smells like onions.
Yeah.
Hey,
maybe you don't have to take it to that extreme.
Don't eat the chicken. Don't eat the chicken.
But what Jen is saying is it's an icebreaker. It's like, just show your vulnerability.
Definitely.
And they're like, okay, I don't feel like I have to be afraid of you because you're a real person. All right. Powerful connections. Tip number 2. Be the most interested person in the room, not the most interesting.
Yes.
Go.
So important. So what's everybody's favorite topic in the world?
Me. All about me.
Yes. Everyone's favorite thing to talk about is themselves. And the coolest thing, if you're an introvert and you're nervous about coming off a certain way or not knowing what to say at a party, just ask a million questions.
Interview them.
You don't have to say a word. And then that person, I guarantee you, when they leave the room, they're going to be like, I loved you. Like, I loved that person. And you don't even have to say anything because you just made that person feel seen. Everyone wants to feel seen and heard, and they want to talk about themselves. So if you give people the opportunity to do that and you're genuinely interested in them, instead of worrying about being interesting, which is so exhausting, let's be real, and you make that person feel important, they are going to leave that room remembering you. Be like, oh, Elvis was my favorite person in the entire room, and you probably didn't even say anything.
They think I'm the best conversationalist when they did all the talking.
Right.
My next question is like, enough about me. What do you think about me? You know what I'm saying? That's always an icebreaker.
That's good.
No, be the most interested person rather than the most interesting person. By the way, Jen Gottlieb is here. Am I saying your last name correctly?
Gottlieb, yeah.
Gottlieb.
Yeah.
The co-founder and chief mindset officer of the award-winning PR company, Super Connector Media, and our friend teaching us how to maneuver through life. Okay, number 3, go in with a goal. Yes. Okay, what's that?
So I like to get strategic when I go to networking events because sometimes your brain can go crazy and tell you all kinds of things to make you really nervous. So if you're focused on a goal, then you don't have really time to be nervous. You have a strategy. So I'll go into a networking event often and be like, okay, my goal is to meet someone and get a selfie with them. Like, it's a game. It becomes a game. Then all of a sudden you're not worried.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It sounds like a fun game.
Yeah. So then you're focused on actually making connections with people instead of like looking around like, what do I do? You'd be like, oh, let's chat. Oh, you know what? You could even say, like, this goes back to tip number 1, announcing the elephant in the room or being vulnerable. All right, listen, Elvis. So I do this thing when I go to networking events, and I give myself a goal because it makes me feel a little bit more relaxed. And my goal today is to take a selfie with someone that I think is really cool. So would you mind being my selfie?
You just melted my heart. You made me feel special.
Yeah.
At the same time, you open conversation with your goal. I love it. Okay.
Yeah, and then when your goal's done, you can leave.
It's so funny. This is not a shifty idea. This is actually a really good idea. You're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes. You just want to find ways to move everything forward. Last night, I had a dinner with a colleague, and I walked to the door of the restaurant thinking, you know what I need to accomplish tonight? This one thing right here. Said it to myself, went down, sat down, had a drink. We lubed up the brains a little bit. And then I kind of went in for the kill and asked the question I needed to ask. And we got to it.
Yeah.
God, I'm brilliant. Okay, wait.
You're brilliant. You do this already automatically. You don't even need me.
We need you, and I'm so glad you're here. Jen, number 4 is follow up.
Yes.
And this doesn't have to be a difficult thing, but you need to remember people's names. You need to get their digits, whatever, or a card. Do people still have cards?
No.
People don't have cards anymore.
I would recommend don't do cards. This is how I follow up, and I want everyone to listen because this has really helped me. So in the conversation, when you're meeting somebody new, I immediately, just on whatever social platform you have, because everyone's got social media, just, okay, Elvis, let me get your Instagram. I'll immediately just go into Instagram DMs and DM you. It was so great meeting you. I loved talking about your dog. So I remember later what the conversation was about. It's not for you. It's for me.
Yeah, because we can't remember everything.
No. And then you want to go above and beyond. We'll tie this to the other tip. Let's take a selfie. And then when I follow up the next day, I'll remember, oh, I was talking to Elvis about his dog. And I have this selfie. So now I can give value with my follow-up. So instead of just following up being like, it was great meeting you like everybody else on the planet, be like, Elvis, look at this photo I took of us last night together. So then Elvis remembers me, and I also send him something really kind and nice, which is a super cute selfie of us together. So that's my follow-up. And I always recommend that people follow up with value because it's so annoying when people are like, oh, just bumping this to the top of your email, or it was great meeting you. That's normal. There's going to be 85 other people.
What has value?
What has value?
Yeah.
Everybody needs help with something. It is your job to figure out what that person needs help with. Get super creative, and that goes back to being interested. So when I'm at a networking event, I'm talking to people trying to figure out what I can do to help them. Instead of figuring out what I can get out of it, I'm walking around that room, being interested, figuring out how I can help people. If you can, we like the word hope, help one person every day. If you can focus on providing value to one person every single day, your life will skyrocket exponentially. I promise.
Wow.
I promise. That's my tip,
This
the
is
biggest
good.
tip.
We've only been talking to Jen for, 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And we've received, at least a weekend worth of information
Right.
here.
Yeah.
Follow-up is the reason that I actually got my job here, because I was going to be an intern for someone who used to work here, and they never called me back. So I kept calling, and I go, hi, just wanted to check in. And I think they just got tired of me calling and finally said, just come in, you have the job. But
Nice.
that's how I got it.
It works.
I just kept following up and following up and following up.
And
Pleasantly persistent.
Yeah.
and adding value to your conversation. Hey, it was great meeting you. You're awesome. And by the way, the name of that restaurant I couldn't remember that I want you to try is
McDonald's.
McDonald's. So that adds value.
That's
whatever.
perfect.
All right, so you brought up something at the beginning of this conversation, which I find so valid. We're all coming out from under our rocks.
Yeah.
We're actually having to put clothes on and deal with people, and I will tell you, I get very nervous in public right now because I'm not used to it. We used to be the most social people known to man. We were always out, always in situations with people we've never met before, Jen, and now we're kind of rusty. I didn't think this was possible.
It's
but it is.
totally possible. I feel the same way. And look at what we just did. We just got closer because you shared your vulnerability with me, that you're, a little bit uncomfortable in social situations. And I think everybody listening right now can probably relate to that in a really big way. We're out of practice. We've been disconnected from human beings. And now we're going to be reconnecting. And there's this whole thing called re-entry panic syndrome that I heard of.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that somebody
That
named
sounds
it that.
frightening.
Re-entry
panic syndrome.
It's like more anxiety when you go out into the open, and I think that if we can remember those tips that I just shared, being more interested, being a little bit more vulnerable and open, knowing that everybody's in the exact same boat right now. Like everybody, even people that we think are the biggest celebrities, famous, oh my gosh, they've got all these followers, like they're so cool. Don't underestimate, they're humans too. People are people. And we're all feeling the same thing. And if we can all just connect on that and remember, we're in this together.
Yeah.
We're in this together, then it's going to make it a lot easier for everybody. Nobody's perfect. No
Jen-
one's going to be the perfect butterfly of the party. Be a real human.
What's that, Frog?
What are some good questions? Like you said, be the most interested person in the room, not the most interesting. What are some good go-to questions to ask somebody who you really don't know a lot about, but you want to get to know them and don't want to seem creepy like you're interviewing them almost, so it sounds more conversational?
That's fair. Yeah,
That's
I
a
don't
great
wanna be creepy.
question. Yeah, no, you don't want to be creepy and weird. I really like asking, what's the thing that you're most excited about right now? And you can't say it like a creeper. You got to say it what are you excited about? Genuinely, I want to know. And that gives somebody a window to say a lot of different things. They could say a work thing. They could say a personal thing. And then that'll usually take the conversation somewhere because you can ask a follow-up. Oh, that's so cool. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Okay.
I don't know, but hold on. Jen, I'm Elvis Duran. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So tell me, what are you so excited about right now?
It's not the first question.
We got to figure out how to
It's not the first question. That's weird. That's creepy.
We got to merge into traffic
is creepy.
slowly somehow.
Merge. A good opener is who do you know here? How did you get here?
Right.
How do you know the host? But then, once you get into I would say, so I'm just thinking I'm in a conversation with you. Nice to meet you, Elvis. So how are you feeling about being here since COVID? Is this your first night out? This is my first
There
night
you
out.
go.
That's a great connecting question.
Okay, that's a good one. And I don't feel creeped out at all. Well, I do, but not for that.
Well, I have a question going back to the
creeped out,
creepy stuff, though.
What's that, Gandhi?
I said I have a question about being creepy. So when you say, you follow up with somebody instantly on Instagram, you send them a DM, you tell them it was so nice to meet you and talk about the dog, and then maybe later you send them a selfie that you took of the two of you. Do you ever think that could come across as a little bit more than what you want it to? I have done that before and then gotten hater messages from a wife or a girlfriend hello, leave my man alone. What is going on? And I'm like, I was just networking.
Yeah, well, you got to feel it out. You got to know the situation and look. And I mean, you got to risk failure too. You got to take risks in life. And I think one of the quotes that you liked from me, that you guys were talking about before I came on the show, was the whole comfort zone thing. Right. And at the end of the day, you have to take risks. You have to be risking stuff like that to happen if you're going to grow and you're going to make things happen. You're going to connect with people. But at the same time, you don't want to be dumb. So have a conversation and feel, I know you could feel it out. If you're in the room and you feel like maybe this person is not someone I should send a selfie to, don't send the selfie.
Advice. What thoughts do you have for people who are just having a difficult time getting it into gear? People who feel a little lost. And I'm sure you're coming from the entrepreneurial business side, but like I said, everything you say is so easily applied to everyday life. I know. I'll tell you right now, there are many days now, more than 2 years ago, I just can't find motivation some days.
Yeah.
I'm looking for ways to be stimulated through something. I can't find it. What is your advice for people who come to you with that challenge?
I love this. So there's this myth about motivation that motivation's going to hit you one day if you sit around and wait for it. Like one day a motivation fairy is going to come and tap you on the head and all of a sudden you're going to be motivated to go to the gym or you're going to be motivated to go find the job. It's a lie. Motivation is not just created by a motivation fairy or like the ethers or the sun being in a certain area of the sky. Motivation is created by getting a win, a little win. So let me explain. So, like anyone that's been on, and I like to use this example, like a weight loss journey or like going to the gym for the first time or starting to work out. You're not necessarily motivated to go to the gym or eat healthy, but if you lose 5 pounds, suddenly you get motivated. You're like, this is awesome. I love the gym. Let's go. You're a little bit more motivated. So motivation comes from taking that first action step and doing something that gets you the teeniest, tiniest little win, because that little win's going to give you that dopamine hit to be like, whoa. When I take action and I do something, it works. Wow, okay, you get motivated, then you go again. So my tip for you would be just to do something that will give you a little bit of a win.
Like a micro win.
Micro, tiny. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to go and save the world. You don't have to go and start a whole business. But could you go and, I don't know, text someone you haven't spoken to in a really long time and set up a lunch with them? That'll make you feel really good. Yeah. Like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I went out to lunch. I had lunch with a friend. I had a great time. I rekindled a relationship. I could do that again. That's how you get motivated, by winning.
And you have to be aware of your wins.
Yes.
Sometimes we go through life just breezing through without stopping down and going, oh, this just happened to me, and that was kind of cool. Right. You take things for granted, Hey, another thing, Jen, is, especially in dealing with people in business, we're hearing from a lot of our listeners, hey, thanks to you motivated me to move on and quit my job and move on to another career. I was scared, but I felt like I had nothing to lose and everything to gain at this point. How many people are coming up to you these days and saying those same words to you? And what do you have to say to them? What is your advice for someone who feels like they've got lots to give, but not in the situation they're in currently? Mm-hmm. They need a new career, a new something in life.
Yeah. Something that's happened recently is a lot of people are reevaluating their lives, right? Like that's what happened with COVID. And I think it's such a great thing because people are coming back to what do I really want? And realizing, oh my gosh, I spent my entire life doing something that other people wanted for me or that other people thought that I should do. And now I'm here and I'm like, this is not what I want. So the advice that I would give is, now listen, I never like to give irresponsible advice like quit your job and just go start something new. Like that's, and then you're just kind of screwed. But it's the perfect time to start to dabble in the thing that you think you want to do. Keep your job, keep the security if you keep it, but start to explore your side hustle a little bit. Start to just open the door. Go to some different events if you can, whether they be virtual or in person, that are more about that topic, or maybe start networking or talking to people that are in that world, or just start taking action in a little tiny, getting little wins, little micro wins, because all those little micro wins are going to add up to motivation and they're going to add up to maybe a bigger step. And you'll slowly start to veer into that direction if it's right for you.
Do something different.
Mm-hmm. Shake it up.
Just shake it up. Any other questions for Jen?
I'm just going to have to slide into her DMs and ask her about all of these things when it comes to business and PR and all of the questions that I have now.
I'm going to slide into her DMs and just say, hey, Jen, your shirt was really nice when you were here. See if she remembers me that way.
I will. I will. I love it.
I was going to do off the shoulder today, too.
Are you? Aww. You still can.
Before you walk out that door, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Give us a thought. Give us a great positive pump of energy, some kind of thought to leave us with that we can bounce around in our head and our hearts all day today.
You ready?
Yes, go.
When you love yourself as much as you care what other people think, you will change your life.
Say that again.
When you love yourself as much as you care what other people think, you will change your life.
Wow.
All right.
Okay.
We spend so
Very
much
true.
time worrying about what other people think
We do.
of our decisions, of how we show up in the world, of what we're wearing, of what we look like, or what our photo looks like on Instagram, of what people think about what we're doing with our lives. We spend so much time and energy worrying about what they will think of us. And if we took that energy and we started to just love on who we are for exactly who we are, and we start going in that direction with all of that energy, our life will change.
Wow. This room needs to hear that more than any other room I've ever been in.
Absolutely.
Guilty
Yeah,
as
I
charged.
think we all are.
Excellent. Jen, how can people connect to your thoughts online? What do you have going on where people can go and find out more about you?
Yeah.
Tell me where to go.
So simple. Go to Instagram at Jen_Gottlieb. My middle name is not underscore, but on Instagram, it's a little underscore. And then we also have an event in New York City, May 10th, 11th, and 12th for entrepreneurs that want to learn how to connect with the media. It's called Unfair Advantage Live. We have a dope media mixer on the second night, which you should all come to, where we invite media to come and connect with entrepreneurs. It's a big party.
And I love dope. I'm there.
Yes. It's at the Dream Hotel. Super cool, super
is cool.
trendy. You can practice all your new networking skills that I just taught you.
I'm so nervous. I'm getting nervous. Look, my palms are sweating thinking about it. So it's Jen_Gottlieb. It's Gottlieb. And of course, if you're listening to this, you go online. Our pictures are all over the place. And we'll definitely put your Insta profile and everything on there. So we're good.
Awesome.
I'm so honored that you spent time with us today. And
This was so
It
fun.
was awesome.
we're going to get out of here and have a better day because you came into it. Jen Gottlieb, fabulous.
The Mercedes-Benz Interview Lounge.